if you have an idea, just go for it. You never know what it's going to do for you or even do for others.
Welcome to the SheClicks Women in Photography podcast. I'm Angela Nicholson, and I'm the founder of SheClicks, which is a community for female photographers. In these podcasts, I talk to women in the photographic industry to hear about their experiences, what drives them, and how they got to where they are now. In this episode, I'm speaking with Jemella Ukaegbu, also known as Mel's, a wedding, maternity, newborn and portrait photographer, and the founder of the UK Black Female Photographers community. Hi Jemella, thank you so much for joining me on the SheClicks Women in Photography podcast today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you taking the time out because I know you've only just got back to work after being on what seemed like a really short period of maternity leave, but I guess as a self-employed person, taking long maternity leave might be a bit tricky.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's funny because I just had baby number 2 and I said after baby number 1, I said my next baby, I'm definitely going to have like 6 to 7 months off. That did not happen. Again, it was just 3 months and I'm back.
Oh, crikey. So you've just had your first few days. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Just have to organise myself to really like make sure I'm not forgetting anything and trying to now get out of the house with 2 kids at the same time. How much earlier do I need to leave? Also breastfeeding, so making sure I've got enough milk and I'm pumping. It's like, it's just a whole calculation to the T. So yeah.
And then work as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I know you studied photography and you got a first-class BA, but what led you to choose photography in the first place?
I would say, basically, when I left school, growing up, especially about within our culture, it was like, you got to make sure you get a job that's going to make money from, basically. And so it was like a case, it's like, you're going to be a social worker, you're going to be a teacher, etc. So I studied health and social care. And then I actually found out I was dyslexic. So I was like, I am not smart enough to go to university. Plus, when you do health and social care, you do placements. And I realized how much time, like the teachers and stuff just ended up working on the paperwork and not actually with the children. So I was like, yeah, it's not for me. I'm not smart enough. So I was like, I always love photography. I bought my first camera on that last week of school because I went to like photograph all me and my friends on our year 11 leaving day. So I was like, I love photography. Why don't I just go and study that instead? So I literally ended up taking that route of photography from there.
I read somewhere you were inspired by some of the photos that your mum took when you were a kid. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, my mum, she always either had the video camera or she had her camera in her hand. And I just love, like, my mum has a whole box at home where it's just her in school with her friends. And it's just that history. She has her own archive, basically. And I just love that. Like sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll just pull everything out and just start going through things like, Mom, why did you have 2 hairstyles in one? And that's what made me like love photography in that sense of what it actually does for us. It tells our story. Like my mom's no longer here. I got all of these pictures to like look back on, you know, and those stories that she tells me, I'm able to tell my kids of like, oh, this is why your grandma had 2 hairstyles. You know, it's like all of that is just in one huge box. And for me, that was just like, wow.
Yeah, it is amazing, isn't it? When you're looking at a print of a photograph, you don't just remember that day. You remember lots of things around it, don't you? I often talk about a picture that I've got from a holiday many years ago, and it just brings back the whole of the holiday, not just that snapshot of it.
Yeah, exactly. It really does. I was even just saying to my husband the other day that there's some pictures that my mum has. I think it's in different locations, but just because of like the headboard, like a picture of us on a bed and that headboard, and everybody had that headboard. So I thought I was somewhere that I wasn't. It just, yeah, from just looking at one picture. And I think as well, combining it with all the video footage that she has of us and even me just walking around with a camcorder around the house as well. It's like, oh, what you did in the bathroom? It's like, leave me alone in the bathroom. Where are you going with the camera? So yeah, it's it literally does allow you to really just like see your story. And I think now, in a generation that we're in now, everything's on our phone. And we don't print nothing. It's either in now an iCloud or, you know, Google Drives, etc. And
yeah,
we got it on our Instagram and Facebook. But then some of our Instagram and stuff are private. Facebook are private. So even if my grandchild was to like, oh, search my name in Google and see what comes up, they might not be able to even access anything because everything's kind of like locked away. So my story is like no longer here. So like even all the stuff, all my projects in university was all based around family and what our stories tell in our prints and how much of it's true, how much of it's not true. Because, you know, sometimes my mum might have told me a story about a picture and it's like, now that's in my head as I'm growing up and I feel like I was a part of it, you know, all those kind of little things. But especially like, within this digital world, I'm just about physical print. I need to print everything.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, Instagram stories, that kind of trains us that, you know, a picture only lasts 24 hours and it's gone.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if you print it, you've got it forever.
Most definitely. And I think as well, even, I don't know, I suppose how everything's changing now in the sense of even like how people decorate their home and everybody wants to be minimalist as well. So, you know, if I go into my grandma's home, there's pictures of us all over the wall. Whereas now, no one really wants to put pictures on the wall. They just want these like fancy abstract art images. So then it makes us not even think about printing it. And as well, I suppose back in the day, like, you know, when mum was shooting her 35, you had to print it. You had to print every single picture, even the one where your finger was on the lens. You had no choice.
Yeah.
Whereas now everyone can be selective of what they want to print. And again, because it's on our phone, it's like, how much of it do we actually go to print? It's really bad.
Yeah. I think once you start printing, you know, you sort of make that connection and you start making a print. We do kind of elevate our digital images that we print because obviously, like you say, we shoot thousands of them. So to select one, to have it printed, that becomes then really, really special. But unfortunately, we just often forget to do that. And we really need to get back into the habit. But it sounds like you are in that habit.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like I need to get back a bit deeper into the habit in that sense, because I know just being busy with work and stuff, like I ended up like, I started printing all the pictures of my first daughter, Zari, and it's like, wait, I need to carry on. And now having baby number 2, I need to carry on again. Obviously, like I got my Instax, so then I print those at home sometimes. So like I said, you become more selective with the ones that you want to print and they become that bit more special. We create how we want things to look in that context of like down to the T of like, okay, I'm going to print this picture and then that one and order like this one or that one. And then, we have more choice. So we curate how we want our album to look now, whereas we couldn't create it before. It was what it was when you printed it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, thinking back to when you were at university or perhaps about to leave university, did you have any female role models, any Black female role models in the business?
No, I didn't, you know. I actually didn't. I had a mentor at the time, but she wasn't Black. She was a white lady. But no, I didn't. So I didn't have anything to look up to really and truly that I could say like, oh yeah, you know, being a photographer could work. Or maybe there was, but we're just not in the places that we need to be. Like if I remember my university library, there wasn't any books about us, or we wasn't in any book. So no. So it was just me going in the whim of, oh, I just want to be a photographer and let's see how it works and if it works.
Yeah, but it is a lot easier when you can see it, because then you sort of, oh, that person is like me. I could do that as well. If you don't know anybody, it's more of a leap.
Most definitely. Like I said, every time I would like go to workshops or anything like that, it would just be me by myself as a Black woman, you know. Luckily along the journey I have met other Black female photographers, but again, at my early stages I can literally count on one hand. And it was kind of like we're all kind of at the same level, so we're kind of like helping each other to kind of get there, but we never saw anybody who was above us in a higher level of photography to say like, oh wow, look what she's done and we can do that too. It was, we're just gonna go for it. So yeah.
And so after leaving university or college, how did you set about creating your own business?
I've been a photographer obviously for how many years already, coming up like 12, 13 years. Wow. Yeah. When I left university, I tried to get photography jobs in like built established photography industry jobs, and I never had luck. They would tell me like, oh yeah, you're great, but we was looking for someone who was more in a digital world and could, you know, manipulate the images and stuff, where I never did that. I kind of like photographed what you see in that sense. So then I was like, I just want to start my own thing. And then I was like, I suppose at university, technically I found my why of why I wanted to do photography in the first place. So then it was like, okay, my uni teachers was like, oh no, we want you to go study your masters and we want you to do all these exhibitions on all the work that you've done on family and stuff. But I was like, that's great, but then how can I sustain myself financially from that, in that sense of just doing exhibitions and stuff? Because it's more like, there's sort of a project based. You start a project and then it's okay, you're going to then put it in exhibition. Are you going to get funding to put these projects on, etc., etc.? You don't know if you're guaranteed to get financial money from it. So I was like, do you know what? I've dibbled and dabbled into like family photography and stuff. I could technically go into that and make my money that way instead. So leaving, I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to register and I'm going to go for it. I was living at home. I didn't have any responsibilities at that time. So I was like, let me just dive in and make the mistakes I need to make so I can learn from them and get to step in.
So that was family photography rather than wedding photography at that point?
Yeah. My first wedding was actually in my first year of like registering my company and stuff. So I did my wedding in my first year, but that was just one wedding. But yeah, I just dabbled into everything in that sense, because I feel like when you first start, you're trying to find your niche because you don't know what it is that you want to do. And there's no problem in doing everything. But then if you find stuff that you don't really like doing, it's like, no, I'm going to stick to what I know. So then that's how I was able to just like narrow it down. I've done a bit of everything. Then I was like, what do I like? What do I not like?
And I think when you're starting out, like you say, you want to try a bit of everything, but also you're kind of so keen to get the business that you'll just take anything on. And then you sort of, if you start to gain traction and then suddenly you're running around all over the place doing everything and just feeling a bit out of control. So sometimes that's when you want to become a bit more niche.
Exactly.
So how did you get into wedding photography on a more sort of serious basis?
Do you know what? I did the first wedding and then I was like, can I handle this? Because a wedding is like, there's a lot of pressure with a wedding. There's no retake, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what you get is what you see on that day and you've just got to flow with it. Whereas when I do my maternity shoot or my newborn shoot, you know, if I feel like, okay, baby's not really, you know, working today, let's try again next week. I can't try again on someone else's wedding day. It was just trying it and seeing, do I like it? Do I not? Started off little like family, my cousins getting married. Oh, let me photograph your wedding for you. And then it just started to develop and grow. And I think last year I did about 12 weddings. I think that's the most I've ever done in 1 year.
Which is a nice number.
Yeah. It was nice, but it was busy. It was very busy and hectic. Maybe because half of them I did while I was pregnant and some of them I didn't even know I was pregnant. So it took a toll on my body in a sense of tiredness, but I still loved it.
So I was talking to someone the other day who at one point was doing 50 weddings a year. You think, good grief, that's a lot. Because, you know, obviously that's probably every weekend, isn't it? And it's a lot. And then you factor in all the processing as well.
Yeah.
But 12 seems like a nice number. And then I guess you're in a cycle with the couple, aren't you? So, you know, the first baby comes along and so you have the bump and then the newborn shoots and then the next one.
Yeah. And that's what ultimately I love about photography as well, is the journey and the story. So even in university, my projects were on young moms, and even my main uni project was documenting a mom from her pregnant to her giving birth to after the baby. So there's something that I definitely love about photographing the journey. So I love it, you know, clients coming for their bump and then their baby's here. And then, you know, photographing the baby growing up to their first birthday, their christening, all those different milestones. I absolutely just, love it.
Do you get to the point where you're sort of thinking, well, hang on, you know, they're coming up to 3 now and I haven't had the call. Do you follow up?
Definitely. Yeah, because I stay quite connected with my clients anyway via like social media and stuff. So I see them, I see their baby growing. I'm following up. I'm like ready. And sometimes they might not necessarily come back within that first year, but it's when baby number 2 comes, then they come back again. So even if it's not like specifically the child that you document for that whole year, it's them going on to baby number 2 and then they come back to you again and you see them grow and it's like, wow.
Yeah. So how did you find your first clients going beyond your own family?
So when I first started, I used to do, when I first started, Instagram wasn't even necessarily a thing like how it is now, where like everyone, I feel like, depends on Instagram as a way to get their clientele in. I was literally like doing market stalls. I was putting leaflets through people's letterboxes. I was doing like little like random things, and there's things that ended up starting to be like word of mouth. And then I built myself up on social media in that sense as well, just like built a presence on there as well. So mainly word of mouth and Google SEO, to be honest, when I first started.
It's a lot of work, isn't it? I mean, like, putting leaflets through people's doors and all, it's constantly juggling social media, but it gradually you sort of chip away and you start getting your client base.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think as well, like even like for my weddings, for example, I think half of the weddings that I shot last year ended up being guests who were at the wedding for the other half of the year, because they literally just saw how I was as a photographer. They loved my energy. They loved how I was. And it was just like, they email like, oh, I saw you, or yeah, like I saw you shooting this person's wedding, so I wanted to get information. I want to hire you. So a lot of things is people also seeing how you work as well. Like every time you step out there under your company's name with your camera in your hand, you're already like, I suppose, promoting yourself without even realizing for that next potential client.
I know someone who had a QR code actually put on they've got a harness for 2 cameras, and they actually had the QR code put on the back of the harness so that people could come up and just photograph it at a wedding and get their details. Well, that was quite an inspired idea. It's a bit different from business cards, but it's a thought.
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's actually really smart. I can't tell you the last time, obviously, as well, business cards as well, because there's been parties and stuff that I've done, and people are like, oh, I still got your business card. And that business card was from how many years ago? Luckily, my number's still the same, but my email's not. I still have access to that email. But yeah, a lot of it as well was business card. But then now when people ask me, oh, you got a business card? I'm like, oh, I don't have a business card. It's like you finished, and I never went back to doing them again, because I just found that it was just sitting there. I wasn't using them.
Speaking of your business, you're celebrating 10 years of starting your business, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But how do you keep it fresh and interesting so you're continually inspired?
I feel like you have to not be afraid to make changes. Sometimes you can get stuck in a rut of how you're doing things, or, like for example, when I started out, I was doing cake smashes. Cake smashes it was very American. So me doing it, everyone's like, what are you talking about? The child comes and smashes cake. And I'm like, yeah. I used to have this whole thing of like art attack with males. I used to literally make props, get my sisters to help me. Like, we're very creative people. So it used to be a whole thing that I would do on social media of art attack with males, creating the setups. And come last year, I said, you know what? I don't find the joy in it anymore like I used to. And it was me being okay with saying, you know what? I don't want to do them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have to be okay with, do I like doing that? Does it bring me the joy it used to? Or, okay, how can I, spice things up a little bit? How can I refresh? It could be, the style in which you shoot. Like, I'm literally in the middle of changing the style in which I shoot certain sessions now as well, to kind of keep it going of like, oh, that excites me. Because if it excites you, then you're able to provide your clients with a service, because they can just see that joy of what you're able to do. So definitely it's like not being afraid to change things. Like, I think we're very much afraid of change.
Yeah.
I've been doing something for this many years. Oh, I can't change it now. It's just like, you have a job, and, maybe you're a receptionist or you're a doctor or something. You think, I've been doing this for how many years? I have to stay in the same job. I was just speaking to my cousin the other day, and I was like, if you want to change your job, change your job. If sometimes our purpose for a certain thing doesn't have to be for a long space of time. It can be a very short time. And after you've done what you need to do, you can be like, hey, I'm ready to move on now. And that's okay.
Yeah. I think what you said about your clients can see your enjoyment of the situation, I think that's really, really important, because they want to have a good time. A photo shoot, however it is, whether it's at the wedding or, the bump or the baby shoot, it needs to be enjoyable and fun. Nobody wants a grumpy photographer who's been shooting the same stuff forever and is thinking, oh God, here's another baby.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I know with a lot of people, after a while, it's like, if they can do something with their eyes closed, it's like, I don't want to do that no more, because I want that challenge.
Yeah.
As well. And like, sometimes it can be good. At least, you can come in, you're in and you're out, and you know exactly what you're doing. But then sometimes there's those little times where you just want to do that a little bit more.
Yeah. The cake smash photos always make me laugh because I just see like the photographers thinking, oh God, now I've got to clear all this up. And the parents are thinking, now we've got this sticky baby that we've got to take home all over the car. And basically, they got some nice photos, but nobody's very happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the sessions, literally, like the baby will be crying the whole time. It's like, you know, you're bringing the kids up and they're eating food at lunchtime and their breakfast, and you're like trying to make them stay clean, and then like you bring them to my studio, like, yeah, smash cake, put your hands in it, and they're just like, what? No, I'm not sure.
It seems like a really long time ago that we first got to get in touch because mutual friends in the industry sort of said, oh, you know, Jemella, she's created a community like you have. You two should get in touch because you've got similar ideas. What took you from the idea of the UK Black female photographers to actually creating it?
To be honest, I think when I did like the first call out on social media, in a sense of like, you know, I've been going to these photography conventions and photography workshops and stuff, and I never see anybody who looks like me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just put a rant out. Everyone says it's a rant. I just put on social media like, you know, look, I know like Black people are very creative. And I was like, where are the other Black female photographers? Like, just out of curiosity, you know, where are we? And then everyone just started responding like, I'm here. And I was like, oh, well, hey. And then I started getting DMs and messages from people saying, oh, I can't wait, you know, to see what you got planned and stuff. And I thought, huh?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I was just saying, hey, like, I just wanted to, you know, meet up with some Black female photographers, you know, go out and shoot and learn from each other, like, have fun, and ultimately, you know, be self-employed. I have no Christmas party with work colleagues. I was like, we could have our own Christmas parties and stuff. And yeah, but it was like everyone was literally messaging me like, can't wait to see what you got planned, etc., etc. And I was like, you know what? Let's start something. I called one of my other Black female photographers, Tori Lenz, and I was like, look, I've got this idea now. And she was like, yeah, go get your notepad, plan your whole year and go for it. And I was like, okay, let's go. And literally, it just started from there.
How long did it take you to come up with the name? Or was that just instant, so obvious? Let's go for that.
No. So at first it was London Black female photographers, because obviously I'm London based.
Thinking fairly small.
Yeah, of course, just London. And then I had people from Birmingham. Oh, but we're here. Oh, can I join even though I'm over here? And I was like, oh yeah, of course, come. And then I was like, okay, maybe I need to take off London and put UK. So
yeah,
it was probably London for maybe 2 weeks. If that. And then it changed to UK.
When does the UK come off?
Gosh, who knows? I feel like we'll stay UK. We'll stay UK, but we could always branch to different countries and meet other, because there are other Black female photographers groups, mainly in America.
Right.
Anyway, so but then again we connect with them. So yeah, but we'll keep UK.
Fair enough. What obstacles did you encounter in forming the community? Was there anything in particular that sort of gave you an issue?
I just feel like, especially as Black women, we've been taught to like play against each other in the sense of, even as women in general, it's just like, you're like, oh, well, that person stole my idea, or, you know, am I comfortable? Says, you know, it was like, I knew that would be like a battle, because, and I feel like just in the community as well, you're just constantly like, okay, how can I put it? We think small. The same way how I put London Black female photographers, we automatically think small.
Right.
So if you now meet up with someone who's just down the road from you, you automatically think, oh no, I can't really connect with them because they might steal my idea, etc. So then you kind of get that kind of office energy of like, do I dive in to really get to know this person and be a part or not? So I knew that was always going to be a battle.
Yeah.
In starting it. And as well, sometimes, you know, I do get messages saying that I'm racist for starting a community of Black female photographers. So I do get that as well. But other than that, those are only the two kind of obstacles, really.
Yeah, that's good. It's interesting because, like, in forming SheClicks, I had a few people message or say to me that it was sexist. But actually, I've also had a lot of support from guys who are saying it's brilliant, and they bring their sister or their wife or partner or daughter along and say, you need to join this group because you're a great photographer. And, you know, there's far more support, and I'm sure there's far more supporters of your group than there are detractors.
Oh, most definitely.
But you can't help but hear the detractors, unfortunately. They always, you know, that voice always sort of is a bit disturbing.
yeah. Especially when you go to just like start something new, you got a new idea and you're like, oh, will it work?
Yeah.
Will it not work? And you just like, yeah, just like starting a bit again, it's like starting a business, like, will it be successful? Will it not? You know?
Yeah.
Do I leave my job to start it? Do I not leave? You know? And yeah, you're just kind of like scared.
And how has the community evolved over the years? I mean, obviously, you know, you admitted to yourself that it was going to be an organisation that you were going to actually start, and it wasn't just going to be London, it was going to be UK. But how has it evolved beyond that?
It's grown, because it was just gone from, okay, we're just going to meet up to kind of like hang out with each other, learn from each other, etc. And then it's excelled where, you know, we've had our own exhibitions, which our first exhibition, we always had it planned that we was going to have one, but we just didn't know when. Then the lockdown happened, and then we got a call to say, hey, we got a space, we're going to make it happen. And I was like, do you know what? Let's do it. Let's go for it. And then it's literally just gone like from step to step to just being recognised within the photography industry as well. Being able to offer our community workshops and stuff as well with people within the industry, portfolio reviews, etc. It's definitely grown from just being a social community to now being a social and educational community.
And an interface as well between, like, you know, the black female photographers and camera manufacturers or retailers or, you know, other providers. It's a good resource for everybody, isn't it?
Most definitely. Like a lot of people, which again, would have never popped into my head. People are getting hired, you know, through just like our social media page and people posting and us sharing people's work. Like, again, it was never the plan. It was like, hey, we just want to show off what, you know, the community is made of and the talents that are here. We want to show everybody. And yeah, it's just each time we just keeps excelling to something else, the more that I could ever even imagined.
So all the things that you've achieved with the UK black female photographers, what are you most proud of?
I don't know, because every single moment makes me cry. Every time I go to say a speech, I start crying. I'm like, oh my God, what am I crying for? I wouldn't say there's anything specific, or would I? I'm most proud of the growth of where we've gone and the sisterhood that's been built. Mm-hmm. In that sense of a lot of people are now really good friends with each other. They, you know, like it's just so lovely to see.
Yeah.
And for people to say, do you know what, that inspired me, and that alone is enough for me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's seeing everybody's growth and people just coming out of their shell and excelling and celebrating everybody. That's what, like, yeah, for me.
And believing in themselves.
Yeah, we're just, yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, believing in themselves. Because sometimes, again, like I got a message today from one of the UK photographers. It was like, oh, seeing you for the fact that you've reached 10 years, like, you're inspiring us, girl. And it's like, I never did it to inspire anybody. I was doing it because, one, that was my job. That's what I want to do. That's what I find joy in it. You don't realize that someone else is watching. And now, where I never had nobody to look up to, I'm doing that for other people. So it's like, yeah, it's really weird. So I love everyone coming together, celebrating each other and helping each other get to the next level, really. That's my proudest thing.
What are your aspirations for the group going forward?
Oh, to grow even bigger. Like, I've actually gone from knowing 3 to over 500 people in the private Facebook group alone. So just for it to continue growing, really and truly, and getting our members out there more and supporting people grow within their photography career as well. And it's giving them that access to do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger the number, the more visible you are and the more likely you are to inspire little girls to want to take photographs and to pick up a camera and shoot video or shoot stills and emulate what you're doing.
Most definitely. And I want to also get UK photography to a space where I know I won't be able to carry on doing it for the rest of my life. Like, I want to build the foundation so strong that when it's time to step down, someone else can take over and it can then carry on inspiring and helping other photographers grow to where they need to grow. And as well, ultimately, not everybody has to go to professional level. Also want to say that some people, like, not all of us want to be pros. Some of us just want to the joy of the camera and having that space to do that and learn things at the same time and just get to where they want to personally get to. And that is also enough. So yeah, I just wanted to carry on after me and just build that foundation so strong that it can just keep being a stepping stone for many years to come.
I think that's a great aspiration. How do you find balancing the demands of, you've got your successful business and then you've got a vibrant community? How do you balance those two demands and children?
It's hard. I suppose now, ultimately, what I've come to realize, it takes organisation and also being honest with yourself with what you can do and what you can't do. Because at the end of the day, we can't pour from an empty cup. I feel like Ukaegbu with Tog just soared within the last 2 to 3 years, that ultimately my company took a back step where I was trying to balance, we had our exhibition at Fuji Film House Photography, and it's like, I was like all in. So definitely now having, gone and had baby number 2 on maternity leave, I've been able to kind of like stop and fill up my cup again.
Yep.
Keep filling my cup and don't run empty and dry. Be honest with what you can and what you can't do. And, don't put too much pressure on myself. And again, doing things like what really bring me joy.
Yeah.
Because that will, keep me stepping and keep me going.
As demanding as a community may seem, the individuals are all very understanding. So if you sort of say, actually, you know what, I just need some time off today, everyone will accept that. Everyone's okay about that. They can all identify with that.
Yeah, most definitely. That was so good for women to go on maternity leave. I was like, okay, we're taking a break, guys. Me and Yonda, we're stepping back. We left some other members, in the Facebook group, even though I kept poking myself in. Like, oh, what's going on? Let me see what everyone's up to. Because again, I just love celebrating everybody. That's just me. I want to see what everyone's doing, celebrate their success and stuff. And I love seeing people's growth and people growing. I'm very much about self-growth. So yeah, but it was so nice to be able to say, hey guys, we're stepping back. And everyone was literally like, guys, take that break. You deserve that break. You need that break and stuff. So that's what's been like ultimately really good.
On that subject, what advice would you give to anybody, particularly, aspiring Black women who are interested in getting into photography, who might be a bit hesitant at starting a hobby or a career in an area which is often seen as not being very diverse?
I would say it's okay to be the first. Just go for it. I'm very much about purpose and why. If you want to know why are you doing something, why do you want to do this? So you can kind of, know your reasons, because that will also keep you going. It's almost like, when you first start photography, like, you're doing all these free jobs. Whereas, some pros might tell you like, no, don't do it free, but you know what? No, go and do it for free. But remember why you're doing it for free.
Yeah. So
when you're in that position, make sure you're collecting the information that you need to collect so that now you can use that in your next step and soar within your photography career that you want to do. What is it that I want to take from there? What did I learn? What was in that environment, etc. Ask the questions that you need to ask so that you're able to really take it in for what you want to do next.
I think that's great advice. Okay, so now it's time for 6 from SheClicks, and I've got 10 questions from SheClickers, and I'd like you to answer 6 questions, please, by giving me numbers from 1 to 10. So if you'd like to start with your first number.
I'll go with number 1, since my birthday's on the 1st.
Number 1, okay. Right, so this is from Penny. I love your work. Do you think up-and-coming photographers in the Black community worry about having a qualification in photography? And if they don't have one, it might hold them back, despite the fact that their work might be very good.
I like that one. So I've always said, for me, getting a degree in photography was what I personally needed for my journey. It done more for me than just about my photography career, but allowed me to know who I was as a person. Like I said, I'm very much about self-growth, but it's not necessary to have a photography degree or a degree in it. I've worked with a lot of photographers who are commercial photographers who have they're self-taught, and that's fine. What you ultimately need to do is you just need to understand your value and your worth. That's where you will get that confidence where you say, you know what, yes, I'm here and I'm going to charge this price for my art. And that's it. To know your value and know your worth, regardless whether or not you have any form of qualification.
Okay. So another number, please.
Number 5.
Number 5. Do you feel that up-and-coming Black female photographers have better opportunities, support and mentors now than you did? And to what extent has UK Black female photographers been crucial to this? That's from Philippa.
Yes, I do think so. I do think we have more opportunities. And do you know what? Ultimately, I don't even think necessarily it's more opportunities. It's the confidence to go out there to take those opportunities. Whereas before, we would second guess whether or not we belonged in that space or whether or not we was going to be welcomed in that space. And I feel like UK BFTOG has created that hub for us to, encourage each other. And like I said, because we're sharing our wins as well, it then allows another person to say, oh, do you know what? Because they did that, do you know what I'm going to do this time? Because I actually might be successful this time. And if I'm not, that's okay. We go again and try again.
Celebrating success is so important, even when it's something that may seem quite small, because it really does encourage other people. And it also sort of explains a route to something. I think, there are more women and more Black women appearing in, say, magazines like Amateur Photographer magazine than ever has happened before, because that's an education process. Photographers need to understand how to get their images into magazines. You could take the best photos in the world, but if you don't know how to reach out and contact the right people, then they won't get in there.
Because a lot of people don't feel like they have access to these things, or they would have never thought about it. Even starting UK BFTOG, a lot of people didn't know about these conventions. So me now saying that, no, look, we can go here and we can go there. It's like, oh, I had no idea. So yeah, it's not knowing or being in the spaces to even know that these stuff is here for you to apply for, really, as well.
Yeah. Could I have another number, please?
Number 7.
Number 7. Oh, what 3 items are always in your wedding kit bag?
Oh, I always have a Rotto light. The majority of my weddings that I shot this year. And obviously my camera, of course. The one thing you actually need to shoot weddings.
Yes, that would be good. And presumably a lens as well. But is there a lens that is your go-to lens?
Yeah, my 24-70. Sometimes I don't even feel like it leaves my camera in that sense. It's really bad. I've been trying to force myself to, get a bit more creative, shoot on a fixed lens instead. Don't be so comfortable with 24-70. Yeah, and it's a 24-70, my Canon 5D Mark III, and my Rotto Neolight. Yep.
Okay. Can we have another number then, please?
Let's go with number 2.
Oh, I'm glad you asked this one, because this question is, you've spoken about your dyslexia in previous interviews, and as a fellow dyslexic, I'm interested to know how this has influenced your life and business, and that question's from Liz. You touched on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I never got assessed for my dyslexia till I was about just before I turned 18. So I had to learn how I learn and understand how I learn. So even through university, where obviously I thought I wasn't smart enough because of my dyslexia, and then my teacher was like, no, you need to go and study photography. And I did. Luckily, I had the most amazing dyslexic tutor, and she would just take me through everything bit by bit, and she really made me understand how I learn. Even down to, when I read, I feel like the words are jumping out at me. So I have an overlay that I used to read with. I've got a bit lazy now, but because, again, I've trained myself. But I have an overlay that I read with. And I think business-wise, I just started to become very honest and being like, yep, I'm dyslexic. I feel like we think that we want everything to be perfect. So, typing that email, yes, there might be a typo error. Or I might think there's a word there when it's really not. And sometimes I might get my clients' names mixed up because, again, I see the beginning of a name and it's like it's stuck in my head and I can't get it out. And it happens. And I just have to be comfortable and okay with that. And I say to them, apologies, my dyslexia got me. And I was unable to, do you know what I mean? I just have to really be honest with myself and not allow it to hold me back. And I started to do a lot of blogging. So that got me really confident and comfortable with writing as well and not holding back. It's okay not to be perfect. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's not unusual, but it is disappointing that you managed to go all the way through school without anybody spotting that you were dyslexic. So somehow you navigated that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be helpful if we all learn about how we learn individually? Because, you know, it's not just dyslexia that can affect the way people learn. So it would be really helpful to discover your best way of learning a bit earlier on in life.
Yeah, if only.
Okay, so your next number, please.
I feel like I'm playing the lottery. Okay, I'll do 8.
Number 8. Okay. What was the most significant thing you learned from doing a degree? That was from Rebecca.
Learning the strength that I had to get through it, ultimately. It was a hard journey for me. Again, in my first year, I was the only Black person in my class. I did get, you know, a lot of things said to me when I was there. So I found it really hard to kind of like power on through. And luckily, within my second year, I had some amazing people join who were my full-on support system. Because within the second year, I was ready to like pack in. It was like my dyslexia and the racial abuse that I was getting at university. And I was just like, no, I can't do this anymore. And ultimately, the support system that I had, and it was just my strength. And I believe in God. And I was praying every day to get through of like, how am I going to get through this? I want to get through this. Let's do it. And it was so funny because in the second year, I was ready to pack in, like I'm completely done. And my friends sat me down. They were like, you're not leaving anywhere. We are going to get through this and we're all going to get a first.
Yeah.
And again, with my dyslexia, I used to like feel really claustrophobic in the library. It was really small. So the best way that I can describe it to you is I felt like books were flying at me. Even though they wasn't, that's what it felt like. I just wanted to curl into a ball. And coincidentally, they built a whole new library and it was like glass rooftops. It was nice and airy. So I could walk in there. I feel like I could breathe. And we all sat down in our second year and they were like to me, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
We're going to stick this out and we're all going to come out with a first. And literally, we studied our arse off and we all came out with firsts. So yeah, it was strength that literally got me through it.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great story. Well, the end of it's great. The beginning's not so hot.
Yeah.
So your last number then, please.
Okay, let's go for number 3.
Okay. Living the Dream was a super show and the UK Black female photographers community exhibitions at the photography show always have great work. What are the best and worst things about putting on an exhibition? That question's from Liz.
The best thing is seeing the outcome. And you don't realise how much it's going to impact someone. So even like, again, as we speak about starting a photography career, you don't realise all the different avenues that you can go in within photography unless you see it in front of you and you see other people doing it. So I remember the day that all the photographers got to come and view their work for the first time. And literally, it was just a day of tears. Like, tears of joy, but it was just like everybody crying of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's my work on the wall, and I can't believe my photography's brought me here. And it was just like, wow. It's the great part is the impact that it has on the individuals in the exhibition.
Yeah.
And then the launch and then seeing their loved ones see their work again. And, that's another, it's just that alone. It's like all the sleepless nights and all the meetings and everything that you have to do to kind of put on that project. Seeing that at the end, it's just like, it just warms you and say, yeah, this was worth it. And, everyone just coming up to me and just saying, because of you, we're able to have this space and do this work. And I'm just like, I didn't do this for me. I did this for you guys. Like, literally, I just did it so that we could have fun and we could learn from each other. And yeah, that was the amazing part, was everyone seeing our work and the emotion that it brought was just like, wow. Again, you don't realize an idea that's so small, like I said in my speech in the launch, like the idea that's so small and can be so impactful in the end. Literally, no idea is too small so if you have an idea, just go for it. You never know what it's gonna do for you or even do for others. And I just say the hard thing about putting these things on is just the time, really. Like, it's so, like, especially when you've got a project on, it's just like you're on crunch time and you need to get things done. And this is now the second exhibition that I put on pregnant. Our first ever one, I was pregnant with my first. we were in lockdown. But it's all worth it in the end.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I can entirely identify with what you said about exhibitions, and entirely agree with Liz that your exhibitions have been absolutely brilliant. So I would love to see more, although that could have an impact on you.
Impact on us, indeed. My husband's going to look at me like, really? Sure you want to do another exhibition? You know what happens when you have an exhibition.
Jemella, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely brilliant hearing from you, and thank you for answering all the questions.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for listening to this episode of the SheClicks Women in Photography podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. You'll find links to Jemella's social media channels and website, including those for the UK Black female photographers, in the show notes. I'll be back with another episode soon, so please subscribe to the show on your favourite podcast platform and tell all your friends and followers about it. You'll also find SheClicks on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube if you search for SheClicksNet. So until next time, enjoy your photography.